Good morning and welcome to Chess League. Today we're going to have a look at games from round number 5. Now for this particular video I have decided to make a change. Instead of looking at the whole game from the first move till the last move, I have decided to have a look at some critical positions from some games of round number 5. So here we go. The first game to look at would be Jamie versus Iker. We are now at move number 30. White just played pawn b2 to b3 and black's to move here. Let's have a look at this position and try to evaluate who is better here. So the first thing to notice is that this position has material imbalance, which means that white has a knight and a bishop for a rook and two pawns. Positions with material imbalance are usually quite hard to evaluate. In this particular case, however, it's pretty clear that a knight and the bishop are stronger than the rook and two pawns. The reason being is that it's simply more pieces in white's disposal, especially pair of bishops and the knight. They can be very strong, attacking by diagonals and having forepost for the white's knight. The key thing for blacks here is to understand that the more active they are trying to play, the more deteriorate they will their position. The best thing for black here will be just simply to stand still. For example, they could have played something like h5 or even king to g7 and then just playing rook d7 and rook back to d8. That's the best thing black can do here. I know it's always unpleasant to play such positions when you don't really have any chances to win, but a draw would be a very good result here for blacks. And by the way, this position is very far from winning for white. Yes, white does have advantage here, but it's not at all easy to actually win this position. So if black played something like king to g7, white would have needed tremendous patience and skills to actually win this position. Instead, black decided to play pawn to f6. Now let's see how quickly black's position is falling here after this move. So basically what this move did, it made the pawn on e6 very weak. White played knight to f4. Another option for white would have been here to play e takes f6, bishop takes f6, and then knight to c5 with the idea bishop c4 and attacking e6 pawn. White played knight to f4, f takes e5, sorry, knight takes to e6, rook d7, bishop c4. Now you see how quickly white's pieces became super active here. Bishop is on a very active diagonal at the moment, king to h8, bishop to h6 with the idea bishop g7 check, bishop f6 preventing white from playing bishop g7, knight went to c5 attacking the rook on d7, rook d8, knight e6, rook d7, rook went to f3 attacking the bishop on f6, rook f7, and of course that's not a defense because now white can play rook takes f6, rook takes f6, bishop g7 check, attacking the king and the rook at the same time, king g8, and now bishop takes f6, and now white has pair of bishop plus knight for a rook. Very simple win for white now. Let's now have a look at the second game. Alistair versus Surya. We are on move number 10. Black just played e4, attacking white's knight on f3, and white decided to play knight to e1, which is a mistake. White should have definitely played here pawn to d4, attacking black's bishop and making e5 square available for white's knight. Once they played knight to e1, straight away the first thing here to notice is that queen on d1 has nowhere to go apart from this diagonal. So if this queen is attacked from this diagonal, basically it's gonna be trapped. See what's happened in the game. Bishop went to g4, attacking the queen, and now there's basically no defense for that. White cannot play pawn to f3 because this pawn is pinned, so they have to play knight to f3, losing basically the knight. E takes f3, rook e1 check, bishop went to e6, queen takes f3, castle, very good natural move, c3, bishop d5, activating the bishop and attacking the queen, queen to g3, and now black made move bishop takes f2, which is a very bad move. Basically it's a blunder of the bishop. Hard to say what black were going to do here, but definitely they should have played rook e8, putting a rook onto open file. Not only does the black have advantage in development here, but black is also a piece up, materially up in this position, so very easy win here. If black played rook e8, I'm quite sure they would have been able to win this position. We're on third game, Ezra versus Oscar, move number 25, blacks to move. White just played knight a5 to c4, and the first thing to notice here is that these pieces, knight on c4 and bishop on f4, lined up on one rank. And of course, having two rooks on d8 and e8, the first thing to check is whether we can actually attack two pieces at the same time. And black would have played rook to e4, attacking knight on c4 and bishop on f4. White can play knight takes b6, black would have played rook takes f4, and now the knight on b6 is trapped. It has nowhere to go. Wherever it goes now, it's going to be captured by black pieces. So that's the way black should have won this game. Game number 4, Arnav versus Aaron. We are on move number 21, white's to move, and white played knight takes b7, winning a pawn. Instead of that, there was a very easy win for white by simply playing e6. Now, when you have a passed pawn, especially with the combination of the knight, it's always useful to check whether you can simply win by pushing the pawn forward and promoting the pawn. And in this position, if white played e6, there is no defense from e7 and e8 queen. That's the way white should have won this game. Game number 5, Liam versus Alex. Very complicated position, materially equal. The first thing to notice here is that knight on c7 is attacking rook on a8, and knight on e3 for black is very active here, threatening knight c2 check. Now it's white's move here, and white decided to take the rook straight away, allowing knight c2 and allowing capturing the rook on a1. What they should have done instead, they should have prevented black's knight from moving knight c2. Now the most natural way to do it is simply to play king d2. After this knight goes wherever it goes, onto d5 or f5 or g4 or g2 or c4 with a check, yeah, then the king simply goes, and the next move for white would be capturing the rook on a8. That's the way white could have achieved significant advantage in this position. Alright, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.